Hey, what's up everybody? gilbertblaze here with another video. Now I gotta talk about what happened last night. I went to the TNA house show at the Hammerstein Ballroom, and I gotta say this was my third wrestling show to go to this month alone, and unfortunately this was probably the worst show of the three that I went to, which was ROH Bound for Glory and Chikara's show, which was phenomenal. But unfortunately the TNA show here just did not deliver. Now here was the problem right off the bat. Prior to getting my tickets, I had no idea that TNA would book two shows in one day. So most of the stars were at the other show instead of the New York show, which is weird because you would think if you're coming to wrestle in New York, bring in all your big stars because this is New York. It's the big atmosphere. But they only had, Mr. Kennedy, Jeff Hardy, Abyss, D'Angelo De Niro. They had Tommy Dreamer, Team 3D, the local favorites, and Rhino and Jay Lethal and Amazing Red. But there was no Kurt Angle, no Motor City Machine Guns, no Jeff Jarrett, no Ric Flair, no Beer Money, no Generation Me, no Desmond Wolfe. I mean, there were so many guys missing that it was kind of a downer that we couldn't see everyone there. But on to the matches. Now, the matches mostly went very fast. I would think it was probably a 2.5 hour show. It ended around like 10:30 or so, and most of the matches probably went 5 to 10 minutes. Sometimes I think the longest match on the card was probably Abyss versus Tommy Dreamer. That probably went like 12 minutes or so. But Dixie Carter was there, and a lot of the officials there. Vince Russo was there, who never does any house shows. D'Lo Brown was there, and a lot of the backstage agents were present at the New York show, and they had a lot of autograph signings. Dixie was very nice, having taken a picture with mostly everyone there, and the crowd was big. It was probably like 1,500 to 2,000 people there. I think it was a big crowd, so they did do good in that sense. But on to the matches. Like the opener was Amazing Red versus Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal putting up the exhibition title. This was probably the best match of the night. It didn't get a lot of time though. Probably went like 5 to 7 minutes. But Amazing Red came out on top with his finisher. It was a great back and forth match. Now, this was shocking that Red won the title in the house show, but I think on the weekend, I think it's tomorrow or Sunday, they're going to be having a house show in New Jersey, and Jay Lethal is going to be having a rematch, and Jay Lethal is from New Jersey, so look for Jay Lethal to win the title back. So I'm guessing that's why they gave it to Amazing Red, so he could win it in his hometown, have a little pop for him, which was good. He had a great pop, and so he wins the title. Now, the second match was Angelina Love versus Tara. She put up the Knockout Division title. This match was unfortunately it wasn't that good. It probably went like 5-6 minutes, and it was very slow paced, but wasn't much there in the match. Love retained the title with a bicycle kick basically. Now Tara was really nice. She was playing heel through the match, but after the match, she did a huge autograph signing. She was really nice, really sweet to talk to. Tara's always been great, very nice to talk to, but unfortunately the match itself wasn't that good. Now, the third match was the Pope versus Rhino. Rhino, of course, was mega over because it's ECW crowd, and everyone loved ECW, so he was getting his huge pop. Pope played heel, and he was doing his heel moves. It was a funny thing because he was sticking his middle finger a lot to the crowd, and then he actually took his glasses from a little kid and went backstage with them, which was funny. But Pope went over in this match, which I'm happy Pope went over. He did his finisher. It was an okay match for what it was. Now, the fourth match was Team 3D versus Inc. Now, originally it was going to be just a regular tag match, but Bubba got on the mic and he basically kissed the crowd's ass and talked about how New York is the best crowd, blah blah blah. He always does this. I'm just not a big fan of Team 3D. I'm so tired of them. I want them off the screen already. They can just retire already, please. But yeah, he had to suck up to the crowd. Everyone was just marking out for them. New York loves Team 3D. So they ended up changing the match to a tables match because that's what the crowd wanted. The crowd kept chanting tables, and they gave them what the crowd wanted. So they beat Inc. in a tables match. They gave Jesse Neal the Dudley Death Drop and on top on the table. So that was an okay match. And then after the match was over, Bubba was nice enough to give a little kid a piece of the table, out of the crowd. So that was pretty nice of him. So after that, you had intermission, 20-minute intermission, and then Don West was there, so he was promoting his ass off, trying to sell stuff. They were actually selling backstage passes for $50. So I didn't bother getting that, but a lot of people were like really marking out for that. They wanted to go backstage, meet all the wrestlers. You know, it was pretty cool. You know, Jeremy Borash was there, JB was there. He was like the host of the night, and he basically, you know, was doing his thing. You know, he was pretty cool to talk to. So after the intermission happened, you know, we had Jeff Hardy versus Mr. Anderson. This surprisingly wasn't that good either. It was very slow paced, and the match probably went like 10 minutes. Anderson was like kind of playing heel here. You know, Jeff Hardy was over, but Anderson was like definitely over too with the crowd. You know, the crowd was chanting asshole a lot, and he was like loving it. So Jeff Hardy went over here with the twist of fate. You know, surprisingly he didn't do the swanton to finish the match. So he beat Anderson with a twist of fate. It was a slow match, so I wish it could have been a lot better and a lot longer, but it wasn't. So now on to the main event. The main event, the Monsters Ball match, was Tommy Dreamer against Abyss. This was what you expected was a hardcore match. They were going all at it all around the arena. You know, Abyss took out the thumbtacks, and he was about to just annihilate Tommy Dreamer. And then all of a sudden, RVD's music, you know, started playing. He came down, made a save, did a little run-in, did a little attack on Abyss, and he did the 5-star frog splash on him, and Tommy Dreamer did the DDT, so Dreamer went over here. And so, you know, the crowd was marking out for the team RVD, and RVD was playing up his angle. He had like bandages all over his arms and everything, you know, to play it off that he was still hurt. And so he started to talk after the match and talk about how, you know, he loves New York. And Dreamer, of course, he had one of those emotional speeches, as usual, how he loves New York, and how he said New York are the biggest, the real ECW fans, not the Philly fans, which was shocking that he kissed New York's ass like that. But, yeah, it was basically, you know, marking out. Everybody was marking out for them. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, yeah. I was happy to see Jeff Hardy and Mr. Anderson and RVD. But, you know, overall, the overall consensus of the show was, like, it was just not enough. Like the last house show I went to at Webster Hall was, like, the first TNA house show ever in New York. It was phenomenal. It was great. But this card was very lackluster. I wanted more. I wanted to be excited, but I wasn't excited because it wasn't giving me half-ass matches. But the wrestlers itself, they were nice. That was a good point. They were nice. They were very cool to give out autographs and talk to people, which was really cool. But man, I wanted to see Samoa Joe. I wanted to see Kurt Angle. I wanted to see Motor City Machine Guns. I wanted to see Desmond Wolfe, and nobody was there, you know. So most of the guys that I wanted to see didn't show up, unfortunately. So it was just half-assed to me. I just did not enjoy the show entirely. I wanted more of this, but it was what it was. You know, I was happy enough to at least see 3 wrestling shows in 1 month, which was great. So happy that, in a sense, I got to see a lot of wrestling this month. But we'll see what happens next time. You know, the crowd was chanting for them to do a pay-per-view at the Hammerstein, and you know, JB and Dixie and them, they were kind of like playing off like they want to do a pay-per-view here. And I think they could. They can actually hold a pay-per-view at the Hammerstein, and it will sell out because a lot of people was really marking out for TNA in New York. So that's my TNA house show report. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm just coming back from a job interview, which I'll talk more about that in another video. But I'm about to get my groove on, so talk to you all later. Peace.